Chapter 14 of Ruth Fielding at the War Front. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Ruth Fielding at the War Front by Alice B. Emerson. More sacrifice than one. Monsieur Lefrain had stepped out of the automobile, although the wagon had now been backed so that the car could have easily passed. Its engine was still throbbing. Ruth Fielding was giving her full attention to the little scene at the hen coop. The tall, handsome major in his beautiful uniform made little impression upon the old woman. She backed away from him, pressing closer to the lath coop. No, I will not come. My pullets, they will starve," she reiterated endlessly. "But the Germans may be coming," the major said patiently. "They will kill your pullets and eat them." "They did not do so before when they came," she shrieked. "I do not believe they are coming. These wicked Americans want my pullets. That is what it is. I will not." "Tante," the major interposed gently. "I will not, I tell you," she interrupted. She had backed up against the gate of the coop and had been fiddling behind her at its fastenings. Now, quick as a wink, she snatched the gate open and, with wonderful celerity for one of her age, plunged into the hen coop and slammed the door. There was a tumultuous flapping and cackling of the bewildered poultry, and the air inside the coop was immediately filled with dust and feathers. Then the chaos subsided, and the old woman looked out defiantly at the major and at the half-amused, half-pitying soldier boys. The major's shrug was characteristic. He turned to look at the spectators, and Ruth saw that his eyes were moist. His pity for the unfortunate old woman and his kindness to her had its effect upon the American girl. She wondered what manner of man, after all, this Frenchman could be. Major Marchand said something in a low voice to the American corporal. The latter gave an order to his men. They surrounded the coop, and suddenly, at the word, the corners were torn apart and the walls of the enclosure thrown down. Aunt Abelard shrieked, and so did the pullets. Many of the latter were caught on the wing by the soldiers. The major put his arm about the old woman's shoulders. She was shrieking insanely, but he led her into the house, and there remained while most of the pullets were decapitated swiftly and thrown aside, to be later carried to the field kitchens. But when the tearful old woman was brought out with the last of her possessions and bundled into the rear of the now loaded wagon, the American corporal came with a pair of the nicest pullets, their legs tied together, and placed them in the old woman's lap, along with the bird cage one of the boys lifted up to her. Ruth, watching closely, saw Major Marchand draw the corporal aside and place a couple of 20-franc notes in his hand, nodding toward the old woman. It was to recompense her for the pullets, over whose untimely fate she was still moaning. The mystery of the major, or his character, and what and who he really was, disturbed Ruth. She was excited. Should she tell Monsieur Lefrain of her suspicion that this officer of the French army was the man whom she thought was Nico's double? For it was Major Henri Marchand, Ruth believed, she had seen enter Nico's garden and talk with him the evening before she left the field hospital to return to Clare. The major walked quietly away without even seeing Ruth. The chauffeur of their car, after a nod from Lefrain, started again. They passed the wagon, which was already trundling down the road. This cot was the last one at which Ruth saw anybody during that ride, for when they reached the hut of Nico, the chocolate peddler, his place was likewise deserted. There were no neighboring houses. Lefrain got out of Nico's cottage and searched the premises. His face was grave when he came back to the car, and told the chauffeur to hurry on to the hospital. Here Ruth was amazed to see many American soldiers at work. They were piling sandbags about the various huts and over their roofs. She understood now why the people were being entirely cleared out of this sector. A great bombardment was expected. Ruth did not get out of the car. Monsieur Lefrain ran in, and through the open gateway she saw that he entered Hut H. He had gone to take a look at the occupant of cot 24, the German officer. He was occupied within some time, and when he appeared at the door of the hut, Dr. Monteith was with him. The two stood talking for a while before the secret agent returned to the gate. He got into the car again with just a word to his chauffeur. "Mademoiselle," said Monsieur Lafrine, his voice serious, "indeed, there are many disappointments in life, as well as many sacrifices. We saw the old woman torn from her home and from her pullets, just now. The pattern of life is complex for us all." "I have come from Paris because you called me." Ruth started and looked at him closely. "I hoped that you might have something a moment to tell me. I shall always trust in your good sense." Ruth felt a sinking of the heart. "But, monsieur, have I brought you here for nothing? I warned you it might be a mare's nest." "No, no," he replied eagerly. "It is not your fault. I believe you did hand me a thread of a clue that might, under more fortunate circumstances, have led to the disclosure of something momentous. But that in reality leads nowhere, monsieur? Is that what you mean?" "Mademoiselle, fate tricks us. This Nico is one of those thrust out of the sector in haste because of military reasons. And the German Hauptmann, who lay so long in that hut H, well, mademoiselle, he has died." Ruth was amazed, and for a time dumb. Should she bring Major Henri Marchand into the matter? The secret agent knew him and respected him. Ruth shrank from putting suspicion upon a possibly innocent person. And yet his height, his manner of bowing, an indefinite air about him, had convinced Ruth that Nico's double was Henri Marchand. Who else could it be? Could there be some person who so resembled the Countess's younger son? The thought riled her mind. There was something in it to be considered. Who else could the mysterious man be? And then, of a sudden, it flashed into Ruth's mind. The older son of the Countess Marchand was probably in appearance like his brother, Count Hilaire Marchand. And where was Count Hilaire now? The story was that the young count had disappeared from Paris. He was believed to be in the pay of the Germans. He, like Henri, had been educated in the Prussian military schools. No matter what the secret agents thought of the Countess, the loyalty of her sons was questioned by the peasants living about the chateau. A determination grew in Ruth Fielding's mind. She would go to the chateau and see if there was a picture of Count Hilaire in his old home. She wished to determine if he looked like Major Henri Marchand. Meanwhile, they rode swiftly over another road toward Clare. It was the road beside which the little inn of Mother Gervaise was situated. Even that had been stripped of the widow's possessions, and she was gone, like every other cot in all this sector, and back for 10 miles from the battlefront. The place was deserted. End of chapter 14.